Hey guys, welcome back to the Curly Reader. My name's Amanda, and I cannot stop buying books. I placed another book outlet order. So, as you all know, my last book haul was also from Book Outlet. They were running their spring sale at the beginning of all this quarantine stuff, and I was feeling the itch to buy some books, so I did. Well, their sale has not ended yet. So I was feeling the itch again and decided to go on and buy some more books. Now, I blame Mary from Happily Ever Esh for this entire haul because the only reason I went on the site is to buy a book that she featured on her book outlet order. So I will get into that in a minute, but I also have a couple of things that I bought other than book outlet as well. So I just kind of figured I would share with you everything I've bought since the last time that I shared. I have 2 books that I got from Amazon, a couple that I got from some other sites, and I'll share that in a minute, and then I'll share my book outlet order. So the 2 books that I got from Amazon, the first one that I got is As Bright as Heaven by Susan Meisner. I bought this to do a buddy read with Kristen from Books and Jams and Katie at Life Between Words. We all read this book together. We actually just finished it a couple days ago. It was fantastic, spoiler alert, but I bought this for that reason. I am not a fan at all of this cover. I think it is horrendous. This spine is, ugh. I do not like this color of purple at all. But I will say the floppiness of this is on point. So whatever, it is what it is. So I bought this. Oh, this is the story of this family, the Bright family, and they live in Philadelphia during the Spanish flu. So it was very apt to read it during this time. That's why we all chose to read it together. And it was actually very cathartic and I don't know, I enjoyed reading it during quarantine time and when we have this coronavirus stuff going on. I don't think it would be for everybody. Sorry for the slamming doors. I don't think it would be for everybody, but I really, really enjoyed it. So we just follow this family in Philadelphia during the Spanish flu, how it affects them as a family and the aftermath of it as well. So anyway, and then the other book that I bought from Amazon, I blame on Katie. Apparently my family does not understand this. I can hear slamming doors up here. But anyway, I blame this purchase on Katie, and that's because she recently read it and raved about it. It is on my 2020 TBR, and I didn't own a copy of it. And when I checked at the library, there was a really long wait list at the library. So I went ahead and purchased a copy of A Gentleman in Moscow. And this seems to be, kind of the same publishing type as this, where unfortunately it has this like stepped edge cover, which I hate, but the floppiness is on point. So A Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Towles. This is about a gentleman in Moscow who basically gets put under house arrest and he has to stay at this hotel in Moscow. I think it starts in 1922. And it just kind of goes for his life, I think. I don't know. But Katie loved it, so I went ahead and just bought it because I wanted to. All right. These next batch of books I got from a couple of different places. Now, if you follow my channel, you know that I am currently in the middle of hosting an Anne of Green Gables read-along with Tia from Tia and All the Books. It's the Anne Along 2020. I'll put information down below if you have not heard of it yet. But we are reading through the Anne of Green Gables series. I did not own a copy of the series before we started the read-along. I just kind of thought I'll start thrifting them. They tend to show up here and there just randomly. And so I was kind of accumulating a mismatch of thrifted copies of each of the books. However, I wanted to get a set that kind of all matched, that looked good in pictures, that sort of thing. So I went ahead and purchased a set. Everybody knows that I really wanted the Tundra editions. I did not buy those because I couldn't afford spending $80 on a set of books that I've read half of them already. I don't know if I will necessarily read these editions again. I just wanted to own them for my shelves. But in my thrifting of them, I came across these Bantam Classic Edition books. They were published in the 80s, and I really love the covers of the books. So I went ahead and I got on thriftbooks.com, and also there's a website, it's called betterworldbooks.com, which is very similar to Thrift Books. And I was able to find the remainder of the books that I didn't have in the Bantam Classics editions. So I got a box set of the first 3 books. So I owned different versions of the first 3 books in this series, but I was able to get a box set, and these are in brand new condition. Like absolutely brand new condition. And so we have, this one's Anne of the Island, Anne of Avonlea, and Anne of Green Gables. This looks like it's the movie tie-in edition to the mini series or whatever, the TV show that came out. But anyway, these are not necessarily my favorites of the series, the covers, but I wanted to get them all matching, and I wanted all the spines to match. And so I was able to find those, and it was like $10, I think, for all 3 of these. Now, I know that there is like a mass market paperback edition of these that I could buy for pretty cheap, but I don't like those covers at all. I think they're really ugly, and so I didn't really want to own them. So I just splurged for these instead. I also purchased Anne's House of Dreams. This is number 5, and this ended up being a discarded library copy, and I'm not really happy with it, so I think I might repurchase this one. Go on, see if I can find another seller, see if I can find one that is not a discarded library copy. I also found Rainbow Valley, which is book number 7 in the series. Anne's House of Dreams is book number 5. And I got Anne of Ingleside, and this is book number 6 in the series. The remainder of the books in the series I already had owned. So Anne, Arilla of Ingleside, and Anne of Windy Poplars, I think I had already owned. And so anyway, I went ahead and got these because I wanted them, and now I have a matching set of all of the Anne of Green Gables books. And I really like the vintage aspect of it, and that it looks old. So now we're getting into my book outlet order. The rest of this stuff came from Book Outlet. I have not actually even opened this box yet, so I'm going to open it with a pair of scissors. Michael Nip, I know you don't like it when people open boxes with scissors. I'm doing it anyway, and I'm doing it like this. Very unsafe. I know. I'm still doing it. You can't stop me. But anyway, I am going to open this up and show you what I got. Okay, so I have my box opened now. It's just sitting here. Anyway, I wanted to say really quick that this book haul is going to be a little bit different because I think 2 of these books in here, the one that I heard about from Mary and one other book in here, are books that I already had on my TBR. Everything else in here is cover buys. Like literally, I have never heard of most of these books before. I read the synopsis on Book Outlet, checked Goodreads to make sure it wasn't a total crapshoot, and bought it. So I have kind of a whole mismatch of things in here. Some of them, I don't know if they're middle grade or not. I just don't know. So let's dig into this. The one that I got from Mary or that I heard about on Mary's channel, the reason I placed this whole order in the first place, is called Paper Wishes. It is by Lois Sapaban, maybe? Anyway, and it is about the Japanese internment camps during World War II. And that's just something that I have been really interested in lately. This is way shorter than I thought it was going to be. It is middle grade, but I am excited to read this. And I love the cover. I love the premise of it when Mary talked about it. And so I went ahead and ordered it. All right, and then the other one, let's see if I can find a lot of these in here. I don't even remember what they're about, so this is going to get really interesting really fast. But the other one that was on my TBR previously is a YA book that I've just kind of had my eye on for a long time and never read, and that is The Conspiracy of Us by Maggie Hall. I think that this one is kind of like a spy mystery, not mystery, but like maybe dystopian. I don't really know. Let's see. 16-year-old Avery West's newfound family can shut down Prada when they want to shop in peace and can just as easily start a war. They are part of a secret society known as the Circle of 12, and they believe Avery is the key to an ancient prophecy, someone to use her as a pawn, some want her dead. So, and it's like unraveling the mystery threatening her life, trail of clues, that sort of thing. But it's just one that was like an older book. It was cheap. I bought it. So I will say, out of all of the books in this entire box, the one that was the most expensive was this one. So most of these were under $4. So Book Outlet, I think, is still running their sale, the 15% off sale. So definitely go check them out. I will link them down below. Yeah, because I got this entire box of books for like $50 maybe. But anyway, all right, so this next one that I grabbed, it just looked fun. It's called The Boomerang Effect by Gordon Jack. And this, I think, is YA. Yeah, it's a quick pick for reluctant YA readers. And it is about this like jock kid who likes to play pranks and just kind of goof off. And he gets in trouble and he ends up having to like, to mentor an exchange student that's like very nerdy, Spock-like intelligence, it says. And then somebody dressed up as the school mascot starts destroying the homecoming floats, and everybody thinks it's this guy. And so you have all these different characters. It says a goth girl, a LARPing Renaissance fair maiden, an overzealous yearbook editor, 3 vindictive chickens, and Lawrence may start losing control over the situation. But then the Spencer, the nerdy kid, kind of comes to the rescue. It just sounded fun and silly and something that I probably need to read right about now. All right, and then I was hoping this one was in here. I recently listened to Anna James did an interview with Catherine Rundell, which I bought Rooftoppers by Catherine Rundell in my last haul. And then I saw this one, and I forgot I had actually bought it. It's called The Explorer by Catherine Rundell, and it's middle grade. It's about these kids, I think, that their plane goes down in the Amazon, and it's like a survival story with these kids in the Amazon. But this cover just looked really pretty, and especially after hearing Catherine Rundell speak, like, I'm so excited to read all of her books now. So this next one, I got this cover. It's so pretty. Look at this, you guys. It's called Spare and Found Parts by Sarah Maria Griffin. Oh, this just looks so cool. And it sounds like it is like a sci-fi where it follows this girl whose dad, it says, saved her and many others from a devastating virus with his invention of biomechanical limbs. And everybody's expecting her to have these same revolutionary ideas. But then she's never really connected with anyone else. She's always been really distant. And then she comes up with the idea to use these biomechanical limbs to build a whole person. It sounded bizarre, but it sounded so interesting, and this cover was so pretty. So I went ahead and nabbed this one, and I have no idea if this is YA or what it is, but if it's adult or not, we'll see. Yeah, I don't really know. Some of these probably are middle grade and YA, but like I said, I don't really know what any of these are, so I don't know. Now, this next one, I have heard of this author, obviously, but I had never heard of this book, and it's The Wicked City by Beatrice Williams. Beatrice Williams is a well-known like historical fiction author, but it says it's 1924, and it's about a flapper. She's kind of caught up in the raid during the Prohibition. So yeah, anyway, and yeah, it sounded really interesting. But anyway, so I grabbed that. All right, this next one, I'm 95% sure this is middle grade. The cover screams middle grade, and that is Things That Surprise You by Jennifer Mascari. So that's the cover, which is just beautiful. So this follows a girl in middle school. It sounds like it's kind of a coming of age story where it's this girl in middle school, and her friend kind of start growing up differently. Her friend starts wearing makeup and getting into boys, and she's not quite there yet. And her family's going through some trauma and is trying to heal from her parents' divorce. And her sister had anorexia and has been at a treatment facility and recently returned. And so anyway, just kind of sounded like a hard-hitting middle grade book that was probably like $2, and the cover was gorgeous. So I got that. All right, let's see here. All right, this next one I have is In Darkling Wood by Emma Carroll. You guys, these covers. I'm a sucker for good covers. This one, I'm pretty sure it looks like it's middle grade as well. And this is about a girl, Alice, whose brother gets a heart transplant. He's receiving a heart transplant, and so she goes to stay with her grandmother. And at the edge of the woods is the Darkling Wood, or at the edge of her garden is the Darkling Wood, and her grandmother wants to have it cut down, but Alice just finds solace in this woods, and she meets a girl there, Flo, I think is her name, but Flo doesn't go to Alice's school, and nobody really knows who Flo is, and so it sounds like there's some magical elements to this. So that cover though, you guys, these covers, I can't. All right, here's another middle grade. I promise these are not all middle grade. I know for sure they're not, because I intentionally went in looking for things that were not middle grade. And some of these, like, I did not do a middle grade search. I just kind of went in randomly. And so some of these, like when I looked at them, I didn't know if they were middle grade or not. But this next one I know is, and it's called The Boy, the Boat, and the Beast. And this is by Samantha M. Clark. And this one I think is more like a scary story. And it says, the boy woke up alone on the beach, just the looming trees and wrenching tide for company. The boy woke up afraid, his memory gone. A thin path of sand his only possibility. He would have to journey far to find answers to find his home. But I knew when he discovered the truth, his fear would devour him. I watched and I waited. So that might be fun to read this October. I don't really like scary stories, but I can do middle grade scary stories sometimes. All right, this next one I got, this cover I love. You Bring the Distant Near by Mitali Perkins. And this is about an Indian family. They just immigrated to New York from India via London. Let's see, her younger sister Sonia is falling in love with a boy her mother can't accept. Anyway, so, and then she has like 4 sisters, and it says, as each of these women decide which Bengali traditions to uphold in America and which to leave behind, one truth remains: some scars take generations to heal. With sparkling humor and incisive feeling, Mitali Perkins spins timeless tale of an American dream that will inspire you to bring those who might seem distant or different nearer in your heart. So anyway, that just sounded really, really good. I think that this will be a really good read. All right, next I have Everything Else in the Universe by Tracy Holzer, maybe? So, and this one is just beautiful. Oh, it has deckled edges. I'm not a fan of deckled edges. This one is about a girl whose father was drafted into Vietnam, and when he comes back, he has had one of his limbs amputated. He comes back as an amputee, and he's suffering from postpartum. And so that's kind of what this revolves around. So that must be a middle grade as well. Another one I have here, this is like a mass market paperback, but this is called The Greenies. And this just sounded interesting. It is about a group of teenagers that emigrate to Canada after World War II, and just kind of how they get along. It's based on real life experiences of those green newcomers. It's a group of over 1,000 orphan Jewish children who, with the help of Canadian Jewish Congress, immigrated to Canada after World War II. So anyway, that just sounded really interesting to me, so I grabbed that one. I didn't realize it was going to be like a mass market paperback. That's not a huge deal for me. I don't really mind that. All right, I have Before We Were Free by Julia Alvarez. This one's beautiful. Pura Belpré Award. I think Pam Munoz Ryan won one of those awards. So it says that this is set in the Dominican Republic. By her 12th birthday in 1960, this girl, most of her relatives have immigrated to the United States. But it's about Trujillo's dictatorship in the Dominican Republic in the 60s. This one's really short. But anyway, so that sounded good. And these covers on the back of her other books, oh, look at those. Well, let's see if it focuses. So pretty. So anyway, I'm gonna have to read that because that's a time that I've never really heard of before. Well, I heard of, like I know of it, but I've never read anything about it. So anyway, next I have the Jumbies. This is one that a bunch of people were reading. I've heard of. I don't know if it was like during this middle grade March or Believe-a-thon or, you know, things like that last year. But this is by Tracy Baptiste, and it has to do with, I think, Haitian folklore. It's another scary story sort of one. So anyway, and it's these Jumbies that live in the woods, and anyway. So yeah, that one sounded good. I saw that. This next one is called 15 Lanes. It's by S.J. Laidlaw. There's the cover. So pretty. My husband just started mowing the lawn, so I'm going to wrap this up. This is another one that sounds like it has to do with India. She's lived 14 years in the 15 lanes of Mumbai's red light district. Born into a brothel, she's destined for the same fate as her mother. So anyway, and then across the city is another girl who lives a life of privilege. Her father is a CEO of one of the largest international banks in Mumbai. And then their paths intersect and they're changed forever, these two girls that are living in India. So that one sounded interesting. It sounds like it's told in dual perspectives. And then I got Waking Lions by Alet Gundar Goshen. And this one, I believe, let me make sure I have this right. Yeah, this one is about a neurosurgeon who one night he's speeding along a road and he accidentally hits somebody, and he sees that it's an African migrant, that they're gonna die anyway, and so he gets in his car and he drives away. And then the next day, the victim's widow shows up at his door and says she knows what happened, and she basically blackmails him. So anyway, that sounded really interesting, and the reviews for this are really, really good. So I nabbed that one. And then this last one is like an activity book for myself. I got Blockbuster Paint Doku. So I really like doing the color by numbers, but this is like Sudoku meets color by number. I don't really know how it works, but I'm really excited to try it. I think it like tells you what it has all these, it has all these different blocks, and you can kind of see how many blocks you need to paint around it. I don't know, all the same color. We'll see. It'll be fun. I'm looking forward to getting into this. I need something new to kind of keep me on my toes and give me something to do while I listen to audiobooks, because my audiobook listening time has gone down drastically since quarantine has started. So anyway, those are all of the books that I got from Book Outlet and then Thrift Books and Better World Books. Highly suggest checking out Better World Books if you have never talked or heard about them before. I've never really heard of anybody else mention them, but I really like getting my books from them. Most of their books ship free, so if you're in the United States, they ship free. Not all of them, but most of them. Yeah, and if you have read any of these, especially any of the cover buys that I bought, I would love to hear your opinions about them. I'm thinking I might kind of use this as inspiration for some of my July reading plans. So that might be coming up here soon. I might have a video about that. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this, and definitely check out Book Outlet as well, because I'm sure some of these are still there. And yeah, other than that, I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that you stick around and subscribe. And until next time, see ya!